So, excellent connection. Excellent. Do I have gloves in this town?
Hey, tell me what to do because I want to go to bed. I want to shower.
That's so
fix
true.
my throat and go to bed.
Fix your throat.
Yeah, I feel very.
You don't stay up until 1 a.m.
Okay, so
every
let's
night?
have a little chit chat about these. You screwing up my paint?
No.
Okay, so normally the torque on a bolt is designed to induce some amount of preload in the bolt, right?
Yep.
Do you remember that from
Sure.
mechanics and materials class?
I have not taken that.
What?
Materials? I
Did you
take
take-
that next semester.
Do you take deformation of solid bodies?
We had like part of a module spent on deformation in solids.
Part of a synopsis?
Yeah.
Okay, so the purpose of establishing torque on a bolt is to maintain preload on a joint. During service, that joint must never have its flanges separate, because if it does, everything gets misaligned and stuff starts slapping back and forth and you get fatigue wear.
Right. Okay.
It must maintain its preload. Now these are interesting. They're not the original. Originally would have been a stud with a nut at the top,
Right, like this.
like that. And the machine shop thinks this is an improvement, and in fact ARP makes two different types of fasteners for connecting rods on MGBs. One is for these angled caps, which is a bolt, and the other one is for the straight caps, and they use a stud, original stud
Oil
arrangement.
or the grease in here?
I did, well, yeah, back at the beginning, I think I did.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine. So these are torqued, what did it say, 35 to 40 in the book?
30 to 40.
30 to 40, but that was for nuts on
Hmm.
studs, not for bolts. And so if you think about the way a nut works, we'll pretend that this is the stud. So the stud started out down here, and then there was a shank portion that was the same diameter. Notice this is a reduced diameter. And then the shank came out the top, and there were threads at the top, and the nut screwed onto that
At a torque between 30 and 40.
at a torque between 30 and 40, the intent of which is to, well, the torque acts as a proxy.
Which is separate from the torque this has. in
Well, that's different, right? I mean,
Yeah.
when you have a stud, the whole thing doesn't move
the- Right,
when you're torquing it. It elongates as you torque it, but it
right.
doesn't rotate in there.
Okay.
Or if it does, you've got a problem. So
Does it do the poisson?
it does. So it elongates to, and it acts as a spring to hold the joint together.
Okay.
Now, if you think about a nut, there's two surfaces which present friction. We'll just pretend this is a nut on a stud, even though it's not. You'd have bearing friction on the face of this nut, and you'd have thread friction between the inside threads of the nut and the outside threads of the stud right there.
What kind of friction is it? So
Well, it's sliding friction in both cases, compressive sliding friction.
it's bearing for each of them?
Yeah, it's a bearing stress. If you don't have any lubricant, it'll tend to gall the surfaces
Okay.
like bubble gum. So those two pieces of friction, those two components of friction are immediately adjacent to each other and are both a part of the same fastener
Right.
in the same location.
And this is connecting to what we were talking about earlier?
Right. So when the microphone wasn't working. So now that we have a bolt, where we have that same face bearing stress and galling potential,
But none of the inner...
and all of the thread
'cause
sliding
now this
is
is
down
moving
here.
with
So we
the
have
torque.
a disconnect between the two sources of friction while torquing. So the relationship between the torque and the bolt preload is now going to be corrupted by the fact that one of the two elements that figure into the sliding friction are happening in a different place in the fastener and are involving the rotational elastic deformation of that fastener. So that fastener, when you turn it, the shank needs to grow in length,
Yeah.
which is productive work, and it needs to torsion in order to overcome the rotational friction on those threads, which is non-productive work.
Okay, so we have one unknown, that is the torque to be on this side. Because there were two kinds of problems we solved in solids class. One was a dimensions based, and then performance based. Was it?
Maybe.
It's two different things.
Yeah.
Like you have the dimensions of something, and you solved what it can do, or you have something that can do this, and you need the dimensions.
Right.
You know.
Ultimately, we want to obtain a load across that. That's what the purpose of torquing a bolt is. And the desire there is for to have some amount of springiness that we're using in the elastic range of that bolt.
Right.
And that elastic range is going to make sure that this joint stays closed at 6,000 RPM.
So, do we need to understand the physical properties of this?
Well, we know the physical properties. The stud originally was the MGB stud, and it was thicker in cross-section.
Yeah.
This has a reduced cross-section, so it can have a lower K value, a lower spring constant.
Thinner, so lower K value.
Right? Imagine if this was like a thin wire, like a toothpick. It would stretch a long way.
Yeah.
It would it would stretch at a lower load value. I better say it that way.
So it's a lower K.
It's a lower K.
Yeah.
This has a lower K than the original studs because all carbon steels have the same elastic modulus, essentially.
Okay.
Now
and
this
that's
is
good.
Well,
that it's now
a
lower?
property that we know because it's consistent between the old British steel and this ARP. Okay, so but these are to reduce cross section. This is an 8 millimeter cross section, and originally we must have had a 10.
Yeah.
So now that's actually a good thing, I think, because if the bolt stretches a little more, I think having the spring not be so stiff in here, I think is a net benefit.
I found a form with some spec ideas.
What do you mean?
Specs.
Okay.
Nice. So they said, so from this comment all the way to the top, there's some bickering about that the OEM torque specs are going to be enough for the ARP studs. Which seems maybe, I don't know if I trust that, but they're saying that the ARP website is a no help. I don't know if did you guys look at the ARP website?
I did.
Okay, and yet I'm assuming you saw those,
but not for MGB specifically.
But it says that it depends on the engine type as well in there. I don't know what engine this is, but I'm assuming you know. So those specs or the stretch for the bolts might be useful.
Okay.
Thanks, Hunter.
If using a stretch gauge, stretch to 6.5 to 7 thousandths. I don't see anything about what they recommend.
They were saying
Here.
40. They were saying the standard torque specs up to 45. That's what I read.
Okay, so I looked at the ARP website, and based on the thickness of the bolt, they specify a preferred torque depending on the 3 different hardnesses or UTS. UTS's, or maybe it's yield stress. I don't know.
Oh yeah, 35 foot-pounds for the big ends and 25 for the little ends. I don't
know what that means. Little ends. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Someone said that they're assuming that they mean mains and then rod bolts.
Oh.
It said big and little ends tends to refer to the 2 ends on the rod.
itself.
Yeah, and the early 3 main rods did have a pinch bolt on the wrist pin.
Right.
But I doubt that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
And then the guy said you also need to tell us what generation parts you're using. Angle cut rods with a bolt or straight cut rods with a nut and bolt. If you search in the archives, you'll find more discussion on ARP torque values. And whatever. Okay, cool. It says it has a 3 main 1800.
This is the 5 main.
Okay.
So
then that's no use.
Okay, so for the ARP website, it says if you're using 150 KSI bolts, you torque to a certain value. If you're using 190 KSI bolts, you torque to another value. And if you're using 220 KSI bolts, you're torque to a different value. And these on the Moss Motors website are 220 KSI. Now, if we look at the ARP site for a 220 KSI bolt, it is for a 3/8 size. It says 55, and that's going to put 11.9 or 11,000 pounds of load on that shank.
Whoa!
If it's a 190 KSI, they want 50 foot-pounds, which puts a 9,700 pound load on the shank.
9,700. Okay.
And if it's a 170 KSI bolt, they want 45 foot-pounds on it, and it puts 8,600 pounds of load on the shank.
Are those relationship linear?
Should be, yeah.
Okay. I didn't do the math in my head.
Because that's based on the elasticity of the steel, not the...
Sure, and that's just...
That's a material
Dimensionally.
property of it.
So if anything, it would just be a scale.
Right, because we're staying within the yield range. We're not going to plastically deform these things by any appreciable amount.
Sure.
So the stock is 30 to 40. I was thinking we'd go with like 45 based on what I read on the ARP site. But I'm wondering if we want to put that much potential for galling into the bolt threads of the rod itself.
Galling?
Right, because you wouldn't really get galling of the stud, but we're not... Galling is when you take two soft things like butter and cream cheese and you rub them together. They kind of roll together and they make little balls at the interface. So...
They should call it balling then.
Instead of galling?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it would.
Dragging and sliding and mooshing.
Something you don't want to have happen.
Especially not in the
So-
gallbladder.
Originally, if these were studs with a nut, all of the thread action sliding
Yep,
would occur at the top. And it would be directly in line with the force that's applied by the socket.
So do you need more torque because 45 is now the minimum, whereas 40 was the maximum originally with the stud. So
Correct.
because the threading interfaces further away from where you're doing the torquing, does that mean you need a higher torque to account for that?
Well, that's my question. Now, we know that torque transfers across bodies without loss. However, we are also asking we're asking the shank to torque, to undergo elastic torsion in order to apply our torque to the threads inside the conrod.
Conrod. Sounds like a weird name.
And we're also having friction across a longer set of threads than we would be if we were torquing against a nut against a hardened stud, which is what is from the factory. This is a ARP bolt, and its full length of threads against a forged rod.
Who will win?
Well, the ARP stud is going to win because it's much harder than the rod. I just don't want that peanut butter rod to have its threads yanked out of it.
Yeah.
Because that would end our party very quickly.
And then, back to the square one.
What
with
would
the
get
engine
galling
building.
again? What would produce
The
Well, the galling, there's two sources. There's the face of this, and then there are the threads inside the connecting rod that are not meant for dynamic torquing loads. But we're going to subject them to dynamic torquing loads. So it seems like we should have a really good lubricant down there. However, if you have a really good lubricant, like something with a lot of extreme pressure additives, like this Hyperlube, you are not lubricating with a 10-weight oil, as the SAE specifies for torque specifications. There's so many unknowns with this, switching from a stud to a bolt, and I don't really see anything online about how you modify your recommended ratings going from a stud to a bolt and going from a 3/8 diameter nominal cross section down to this reduced cross section, the 5/16 cross section of these, the lower K value ARP rod bolts. Do those two things work against each other and we just end up with the stock range? I would say we go to the high side. We just torque it to like 40 and use good lube on those.
And then if something happens, it happens, essentially. There's only one way to find out.
There's only one set of these bolts.
Yeah, when you hear strange ticking noises from the engine, that's when you know.
Would it be ticking or would it just be...
Usually they explode and they eject the rod or portions of it out the side of the block.
Which would be
the
fun.
side?
Yeah.
It just makes a big old chunky hole in the side of the block.
Oh my god.
And you hear this really loud rattling noise and it's unmuffled because it's coming through the big hole in the side of the block now.
Yeah. It's fun.
Oh yeah. So just send it, huh?
Yeah, basically. See what happens. And
now
then boost
MGB?
it.
MG was.
Just put a turbo on it too and see how much pressure these bolts can hold. I'd actually be curious to see this engine boosted.
They make a boost kit for it.
Yeah, didn't we?
I do not care.
Didn't Jay Leno, he made, well, actually,
drove around in one.
yeah, his was supercharged, not turbocharged.
Correct.
Oh yeah.
Turbocharging would be pretty fun.
Lube them, stick them in, tighten them, torque them. That's it.
Let's do it, baby.
What kind of lube?
Well, they want the special ARP lube. Looks like it's a
It's a high.
it's some kind of lithium or something or other.
It's their special secret sauce.
But I wonder if we could use this.
I think we should use a Loctite.
That sealer?
Yeah.
That's a lubricant?
Yeah.
Well, it has to be a lubricant, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because doesn't ARP thread sealer have to have lubricating properties that would enable it to
Use Gorilla
suffice for torquing applications? Let's see, because why else would they have it?
You could also use CA glue.
Provides a consistent preload on the fastener through reduced friction and excellent sealing properties. Non-hardening, remains in a liquefied state, providing a continuous positive seal, prevents corrosion, rusts through and prevented additives. Holds pressure to 10,000 psi. Effective from -30 to 550. Clean all parts thoroughly in solvent. Cylinder block threads with a stiff bristle brush. If needed, use a thread chaser or thread tap to clean out the cylinder block threads. Place the gasket and cylinder head in place. Apply a liberal amount of ARP thread sealer to the threads of the fastener that engages in the cylinder block. Lubricate underside of the bolt head or the top of the stud threads, nuts, and washers with ARP Ultra Torque. Oh. ARP Ultra Torque is their name for their torque product. So this is really just a sealing product, not a torquing product.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
So I just got to figure out what's in ARP Ultra Torque. Stand by. Stand by. On you.
You know what I can do? I can clean up Oscar's mess.
Why
Yeah.
would you?
They.
Yeah.
Tell him to come in here and clean up his own mess.
So I don't
Yeah,
want
just
to
yell
tell
at
him what
him.
to do.
I do.
Okay. Go ahead, Dad. I don't want to keep walking over this.
He was having a great time with that seat earlier. You should have heard him.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he was.
Is that sarcasm?
Yeah, he was loving it.
Stand by.
No, Dad, you do your thing.
I'm doing my thing.
I wanna
Just
go to
yelling
bed.
at the kid. Hey, kid. Oh,
Oh, Where
6
did he
o'clock.
go?
What do you mean go to bed?
Yeah, I'm so tired. I'm working all day. It's like 7.
8 actually.
It's 8? See?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay.
It's 2 hours past. It's my bedtime. It's 9 o'clock in Preston, which is where I'm on.
Are you still on Prescott time?
Yeah. Aw, he made a heart. I bet this was for Mom. So cute.
Okay, I think we should use Hyperloop and call it good. Do it at 40. Isn't that cute? A little Pac-Man. Where do you want to stand? Oh,
That's
probably
not
right
back
here.
And then
It's a heart.
have
Hey,
on that
Choppy.
side and this one, or yeah, that one. Mhm. Is there a torque sequence for these?
No.
I'm assuming
No.
you
No.
do. Okay.
We might as well just do it 4 and 1 and then 3 and 2.
You could do maybe like 20 on each, then back it off, and then
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Oh, it wouldn't be a bad idea to do 20 on each and then go up to 40.
No.
and then loosen them, and then go to 40.
Well, we don't have a gasket, so there's no... We're not compressing a gasket. We're just...
Right, there is a gasket if you have the...
Huh?
There was a gasket in this book for the studs and the nuts.
There was a gasket for the studs and the nuts? What are you talking about?
Just
Little
drop it in there.
gasket?
No, there was a
Casing?
washer.
Or sure, okay. That's what I mean.
A gasket plastically deforms. A washer hopefully doesn't.
Mhm.
Those are going to need some help. You want to pop out these other studs, Isa?
I'm finishing this part for Mom.
Okay then. Where's the? Just the right one.
Yep, that's the right one. Oh, we're going to run out of room, aren't we?
Yeah, for these ones,
Mhm.
but we'll just have to
Oh,
rotate
yeah.
the.
You can rotate it. You want to rotate it?
No, let's just do these.
Top
Do
ones.
4 and
No,
1 and
these-
then
these
3
guys
and
here.
2?
Unscrew that. Yeah. You can get out your torque thing and start torquing up.
Oh, because you already did the thing?
I put the
So-
lubes on. 40. Make sure you read that thing the correct way. Start at 0. Yeah.
Oh, I did it earlier,
Oh, you did? Okay.
but I could do it again.
I got oil on my fingers, so now I'm just gonna keep using this.
I can't really read that, but it kind of looks like it says 40.
40. 0, you pronounce it like a D.
That was a great sound.
4D.
I already got a little bit on there.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to get a different 760.
Yeah, do that.
Oh, you're lubing the entire
Right,
top
because
end
I
off.
want to stop that
Yeah.
from galling the cheek and the gall of that thing.
Some pretty nice threads in there, I can feel.
What do you mean?
At least on this one,
It's smooth or not smooth?
not quite smooth. Feels very machined.
Hmm.
I'm feeling.
There's probably some contaminants in there or something.
Mhm.
So go ahead and tighten those guys down by hand, and then she'll come back through with the... Yep, it's ready to tighten. I mean, just with that tool.
I'm doing it by hand.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to tighten with this. I could grab another one, but it's fine. Did you find Oscar?
So this was just gonna look like.
Isn't that a nice heart, Dad? Mom said
I'll
you need
take
to
the
come in and look at
extension
my
off.
pistons.
That's really nice. She's going to look at your pistons?
Yeah. I said, Mom, can you come look at my pistons? And then she laughed and said, not every mother hears that from her daughter.
Nice.
That's what she sounded like, too.
That's cool.
How fun would it be if you couldn't just work in the shop and...
So I heard a scary thing about that, and I
That's
shared it
cool.
with you. That it's illegal to work on your car in Sacramento County.
Yeah.
Those poor bastards.
Wait, and what?
Did you tighten This?
Yeah, I'm just wiping the excess
Okay.
from dripping all over into your engine.
Hey, I appreciate that.
The less contaminants, the better.
So just go halfway. Just go to 20. So apply, since that's a 2-foot long stick, apply just about 10 pounds to it.
Oh, so lower it to 10 now?
No. Just apply 10 pounds with your hand.
I don't know how much that is.
You have a calibrated arm. Use it. Don't you go to the gym?
I haven't been to the gym for like the last 3 weeks.
Ooh, she's skipping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay,
too
so now
bad.
just do the other one.
Busy getting A's on my finals, Oscar.
Tighten the other one.
Yeah, you're just
Now that
salty you
you've
couldn't
done
skip
I
your
didn't have to take
finals.
my finals.
Yeah, imagine that.
Real.
Finals aren't real.
Finals.
Oh,
are-
mine,
They don't
mine
do
were
this.
pretty fun.
Except when you need, like... I almost failed my economics class. I needed to take my finals.
Did you tighten these up? Tighten that one. Just
Yeah.
put your hand right about here and tighten them as tight as you can like that.
I'm at 12.
If I didn't take my finals, I would have.
Well,
No,
I'll do
fine.
it to a level that I think is 10, and I know that level.
That's as tight as you can with this hand.
Yeah.
Okay, but now so you did those on that side, Isa? No.
We gotta do these.
This one. Tighten that until it clicks.
Oh,
Now that
I
you've
thought we were
done
going
it.
to do all of them to 20.
No, it doesn't matter. They're not interconnected, so it doesn't matter.
We'll just
Might
do
have been
those next when we rotate it.
Oh, they're like the same level. Isn't that cool?
That is cool. Okay.
Because my hand is calibrated. Not
It
with
is.
numbers, though.
Okay, now these guys. Nice and slow, though, when you approach the value.
Slower.
Slower? Is that better?
Sure, don't get into static friction, though. Make sure you're moving. You stay moving. Butamus.
Okay,
All right,
now we
crank
turn.
Crank it and
Stank it.
stank it. Yeah. Scratch those cylinder walls.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. So exciting. Oh my goodness.
I'll figure out what our paint's gonna
So
be.
cool.
What is your like minimum requirement for your classes that you have to get for your degree? Or like
C's.
yeah, it's the same for mine.
My minimum requirement is a B.
Yeah.
But if you get these loosened, I can start hand loosening them.
That's nice. If this would cooperate, that would be great, but whatever.
Did the handle off? You can pick it up. Is it not working?
Yeah, the finagle with it.
Well, if it doesn't work one way, twist it the other way. You got it. You done? Did you find the magic sauce?
I did, but it's totally hard. So
That's not,
that ain't
There
great.
you go. Here, and then if you do the next one.
Now I gotta
Or
decide
this
what
one.
solvent to use. Maybe MEK.
nice.
Ooh, that turned the pistons.
Mhm.
You want to make sure this is sticking straight up, not angled off. So this piece here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Kinda.
Oh, that's just
Ooh,
nice. That one was really,
it's getting exciting in here.
yeah, that one was about 10 pounds. Actually, probably more.
Alright, Dad.
Did you get those too?
Hmm?
Did
I
you
haven't taken them out yet. I'm waiting for Dad.
get the Hyperlube? High performance oil
So
supplement.
just put some hyper lube on these things. Just put it on the threads and on the underside of the fastener head.
Mhm. He just kind of globbed it on there too. He can apply a pretty liberal coat.
Wish those ARP guys would have told us.
Yeah, it would be nice if their website actually worked.
Because I'm sure they've researched this to death.
Yeah.
Seeing how much design work they put into those studs, or those bolts.
Mhm.
They're obviously a highly engineered fastener.
I know. Maybe it's better I do this one.
I'll just make that one down.
Have you seen the Rocky movies? Hunter?
Which ones? Oh, the boxing
Rocky,
ones?
the
Yeah.
Rocky ones.
Yeah, those are really good. Probably
tighten
clean
that
this. Yeah, probably clean this one before you apply.
Yeah.
So. You already got this one?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of extra.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to rejuvenate my torque marking paste, but I'm having no luck. Might have to use something else.
Maybe, or maybe electronic. What was that machine we used on the aluminum? Electronic.
Electronic, what?
The templer on the aluminum. We could use that and just put two dots, one on the actual piece of the rod and one on the bolt. So it's a permanent indication.
Could. I think what I'd like to do is emulate what we do in aerospace, which is some kind of a marking paint, which I think I'm going to have to let this thing sit for a few months to resolubilize, so that's not going to work.
Let me see what I got.
What are you contemplating?
Well, you asked earlier, hey, did we torque these main bearing cap bolts? And you said we should just go through and check them in case we don't know if we torqued them or not, right?
No.
What did you say?
I said, I torqued these. That was all. And then you said, right, that was the last thing we did.
These guys.
Uh-huh.
Didn't you suggest that we take one off and check it? Unscrew one and then re-torque it to check it to see if it's at the same angle, or did you not suggest
Oh, I
that?
said we could. Yeah.
I'd prefer not to, because it would have made sense for us to
We totally did it.
totally
It's
do
already
it.
done.
Okay.
And then it would throw off.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of tape, paint, and mark across like that.
Oh, right. I said, well, we could retorque it and then mark them. But
So we can just mark them. So in order to do that, you're going to need to wipe off the grease, the hyperlube, on one portion of that so I can get the paint to stick.
yeah.
Just take a... Yeah, you can use brake cleaner or whatever.
Right.
Lose some brain cells.
And then I'm going to figure out the paint.
Just on one of them?
Just one rod bolt for each rod. That'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Let me just do these.
We used to have tanks in 1.1, I think. Here it is. Okay. Oh, this shit's brittle. I think this is probably also not good.
You want to put tape there?
That's totally gone as well. Oh my gosh. I'll have to deal with that later. Okay.
Okay.
How annoying.
Got it.
Got one for each four.
If you use spray paint, spray it in a cup.
For
and
each-
Use that for what spray paint
Yeah.
will hold up in that
Yeah,
application.
no, spray paint is a good idea. Let's do that. Yeah,
Yellow or green or something.
yeah, something like that. See what I got for crazy colors. I thought I might have.
Oh, bright green.
Oh, sure.
Or white. But actually white might be more off
Green, great idea.
Very visible.
Probably just need a stick, huh?
Or a finer, like a single bristle.
Oh, it doesn't need to be super small. Just take this guy.
Sticky.
Or
Let's use one of these. How about that?
the end. Right? The back end.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Oh, it's brand new.
Cup.
I'm just going to cup it right here.
Index?
Hmm?
Just index them?
Yeah, just a straight line
Okay.
on the bolt and. What's up there?
That'll start to whatever dry.
Oh, you can count the rings and see how old this Q-tip is.
But give it a chance to fuzz off there.
Oh. When you're done with this, do you invert your paint cans when you're done with them?
I should. Would you?
Mhm.
Just step
Once.
outside and
Yeah, once.
just blow it right underneath there. I think she's probably done. Is that going to work? Is that enough?
Might have to
Oh,
work-
it's plenty.
Okay,
Yeah.
as I say, might have to work kind of fast.
I'll wait. Oh, that'll be great. Yeah, you can go ahead and invert that thing and do the mains too. Yay. It's the real deal, and it matches the color of the car, sort of. Give me a smile for Mr. Luck.
Forgot to unlock the door.
No worries.
I'm supposed to do an angled line, right?
A spangled line.
I draw a little smiley face?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was a lot. That was just a dot. Stop! Yay.
Mike,
Meisner?
just gotta make sure. The
This
Mike
is
that
not
we
a very
picked up
content
the
dense.
stovetop from,
Yeah, huh?
he's coming in 35 minutes to pick up the dishwasher and the stovetop.
Oh,
So
he's excited.
he's very excited.
Why?
I don't know.
Did you tell him about
retired.
American Greg?
Huh?
I mean, American Mike? Soviet Greg?
Soviet Greg. Yeah. Anyway, I'm so excited you're gonna get to meet him.
Dad, what am I
But
indexing?
we're gonna need to get that dishwasher out.
Great. Mark the main caps.
So,
So,
set a
like,
timer
this
for
side
about
here?
35
To that,
minutes.
to that. But you want to clean them off because they're you.
Clean them.
Well, just one that you're going to
Oh
mark.
my.
Might need more
Just
spray.
one of them?
Well, you only marked one of these, or you marked two?
One on. She didn't mark the under ones.
You could mark the under ones.
What? What under ones?
The other 4 bolts that are downwards.
Right there. Just clean those off and clean these off. Hunter, you can grab a cloth and just clean these cloths right here above your head.
Oh, they're close there the whole time. Didn't even know. Mom didn't even come see my pistons. I guess she has to take out the fridge. I mean,
So I guess what we got to do is
dishwasher.
unscrew. I think I used a Phillips screw for that, which is kind of lame. Super lame. Oh,
No, we'll be fine, I think.
why is Mommy so excited about Russian Mike?
Well, you can say one thing for sure. He's not Stalin.
That is true.
Okay, this-
This isn't that great. It's super liquidy.
What's super liquid?
Dang.
The paint?
Use it sparingly.
That's fine. You're doing good. As long as there's a blob of green on there, people understand that it's.
I did these bolts.
I mean, you'll understand.
Thanks.
Because it's going to be you looking in here later on. Because you probably pop a couple rod caps off and take a look at the shells and make sure they're not worn down to copper.
Mhm.
Just because.
That'll help you for when you're ready to boost your engine.
Which ones did you do?
I did these ones. Actually, you do those ones. Right here, these 2. I have 2 more.
That's so fun. Just a bunch of green indexes.
Mhm.
Thank you for your help.
Alright.
Okay.
I'm going to the store, so if you guys need anything,
What store are you going to?
probably. Safeway.
You're going for Sigmund?
Yes.
Great. That's all I need.
Oh, what are you going for?
Go back.
No. Thank you, Oscar. Actually, I take that back. Could you give me a monster? I'll pay you back.
Sure. What flavor?
Just green. Thanks. It's coming along.
It's a good thing I didn't pay the engine compartment like this.
Mm-hmm.
Or we'd still be doing it.
Nice. Let me just clean this out. Oh, that is really watery.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the solvent
They
didn't
were
get.
good.
All done? You be fully torqued?
Torqued, indexed.
It looks amazing.
How do you
Yay.
spell that?
UHMAZ.
You can see my
Right.
triceps in the mirror camera.
Indeed. Okay, that's it.
That's it. That's all she wrote.
We need a plastic or a garbage bag to cover this thing up, or Oscar's going to cover it with
I'll
flakes
grab
of
Aluminum.
rust and steel from his. Hold that straight up. Hold it straight up. There you go.
Yeah. You don't want rust and steel inside the engine.
Not to start with.
I think it'd be great to start with.
A fair load on its own. Cool.
And get breaking oil for it. Or you got that?
We don't have any, but we need to get some high zinc oil for the break-in.
Do you think you can give us that for the dishwasher and stove?
I wouldn't feel right about taking money, but I don't know. Nice.
Because it's not the fact that we'd get benefit from it, it's because we weren't getting any benefit from it.
I think that's true, yeah.
Nice.
Cool. Undo the torque wrench setting back to 0 or 25, whatever the minimum is.
10.
Okay. And then it's all good. And we're done for the day. So tomorrow we can put the oil pump in, or yeah, camshaft, I think,
Yeah.
and then oil pump, and then distributor. Not exactly sure how that works.
And then when you get to the head, you get to do valve lashing.
Right, valve lash. Yeah,
Valve
And-
lash?
it's actually pretty easy to set on this car.
Thankfully.
Modern cars, you have to use shims. Well, on the Jag, you got to use shims.
MGB said you've already done enough shimming.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of shimming.
Yeah. Whoa.
Careful now.
You guys still take the engine out of this one?
Yeah, we got to pull the
Yeah, put a
engine so
little
we
bow
can
on here.
put those little
Put a do not touch sign on it.
whatever stupid heat shields that are no longer made. Heat shield, heat dissipators, and that, yeah.
So it'll be fun.
It's going to be easy. This is like an hour to pull this engine. So
What?
It's not even really
Well,
up to your trailers.
I didn't bolt the front mounts back in when I set it down, so there's one bolt on the back, and then the bolts for that plate, which I think are probably like 4 or 6 bolts that hold that plate on.
And what'd you do with the
And there's 2 cross member bolts in the middle and 2 cross member bolts in the front that may not need to come off.
What do you do with the heat protector? The insulation.
Oh, I put them underneath the car here. Once we pull the engine out, we can drive it that, move the engine out of the way and just get in the little cubby in the middle and put those things in and rivet them in.
Is it?
It'll be
Is this
easy.
yours or is this on loan?
Well, yeah, I bought it for $10, which is the retail price of it. Seems a little cheap for something like that. I probably paid $10 for the ones I bought in the 80s too.
Is this your
If you tighten it down, it'll get smaller.
this is your receipt for the?
Really?
That's the race seat for the E-Type. Yeah,
That's smaller?
yeah, it's pretty nice.
Mhm.
It worked well in the slalom course.
Aluminum. Interesting. And it's
Yeah, you should sit in it. Here you can.
interesting how it's canted. Or is that just because it's taken off the mounts for the car?
I put specific foam in it for my body and specific angling of it for the way that the steering wheel is offset in the E-Type. So it's very specific.
Specific.
That
That's
is
all
a
we have to do
really
with the
nice
pistons
seat.
now, right?
That is nice.
What's that?
That's all we have to do with the pistons.
Done with the pistons.
It has a little bit of play on the sides.
Yeah.
I've had that
That's
on
because
my
I'm
list.
fatter than you are.
I'm assuming this is also.
I've had that on my list to do since mid-August.
Putting pistons in?
Yeah.
Nice.
Since mid-August. Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the last time I was here.
I guess this
Yeah.
helps if you're breathing too. It expands through your ribs.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna go upstairs.
Okay, we're done. Bye-bye, Internet.
Bye-bye, engine.
Till next time, camshaft.
Mom didn't come see my pistons.
Nope, she did not.